I told you all that I was the greatest of all time when I beat Sonny Liston. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all time. Never again defeat me. Never again say that I'm going to be defeated. Never again make me the underdog until I'm about 50 years old. Right. Then you might get me.
Muhammad Ali lived his entire life proving he was the greatest, but the cost of that greatness was devastating. Behind the charisma and the knockout victories was a man slowly being broken by politics, by punishment, and by a disease that stole everything that once made him unstoppable. Let's break it down. The making of the greatest. There are legends, and then there's Muhammad Ali, a man who didn't just fight in the ring, he fought against racism, against war, against everything that told him to be silent and accept his place.
Muhammad Ali is not just the story of boxing, he's the story of America in the 20th century. He's the story of slavery, segregation, of Vietnam, of civil rights, of Islam.
Born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. on January 17, 1942, in the segregated city of Louisville, Kentucky, this young boy would grow up to become the most recognized face on the entire planet. But the story of how he got there and what happened to him in the end is one that will break your heart, even as it inspires you to stand up for what you believe in. Let's go back to where it all began. In October of 1954, in the segregated streets of Louisville, Kentucky, a 12-year-old boy named Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. rode his prized red and white Schwinn bicycle to the Louisville Home and Garden Show at the Columbia Auditorium. That bike, a Christmas gift from his father, valued at around $60, represented everything to a black child growing up in Jim Crow America. It was independence. It was freedom. It was his. Heavy rain that day forced young Cassius to linger inside longer than planned, drawn by the free popcorn, hot dogs, and candy. But when he emerged hours later, devastated and furious, he discovered his bicycle had been stolen. In tears and rage, the boy vowed to whoop whoever was responsible. Bystanders directed him to the basement of the same building, where a makeshift boxing gym operated under the watchful eye of Joe Ellsby Martin, an off-duty Louisville police officer who trained young boxers. When Cassius burst in, still sobbing about the theft and threatening vengeance, Martin listened patiently before delivering words that would change the course of history. You'd better learn how to fight before you start whooping anybody. 6 weeks later, Cassius Clay won his first amateur bout against another 12-year-old named Ronnie O'Keefe. It was the beginning of a streak that would see him amass 100 wins and only 8 losses as an amateur. The thief who stole that red Schwinn bicycle never knew it, but they had just created the greatest boxer the world would ever see. Today, replica of that red Schwinn hangs above Columbia Gym's entrance as a memorial. The Muhammad Ali Center in Louisville now collects visitors' red bike moments, personal turning points born from challenge, to honor Ali's belief that adversity, properly channeled, can transform destiny itself. By 1960, at just 18 years old, Cassius Clay had proven himself worthy of representing America at the Rome Olympics. His path to gold was marked by an unorthodox flair that would become his signature. He refused to shake hands with Soviet boxers, trash-talked opponents, and shadow-boxed relentlessly around the Olympic Village, earning the nickname the Mayor of the Village from fellow athletes like sprinter Wilma Rudolph. In the light heavyweight final on September 5, 1960, Clay faced Poland's Zbigniew Pietrzakowski, a 3-time European champion 10 years his senior and 20 pounds heavier. Pietrzakowski controlled the early rounds with experience, but Clay's speed, described by observers as a hummingbird's, turned the tide. He won a controversial 3-2 split decision, clinching gold. The medal ceremony was electric. Clay draped himself in the stars and stripes, the anthem swelling around him. He wore that 72mm gold-plated silver disc, engraved with Olympia Roma MCMLX, and weighing 468 grams, non-stop for 48 hours, sleeping with it, dining with it, even showering with it. Fellow Olympian Wilma Rudolph recalled, he never took it off. No one cherished it like he did. But when Clay returned to Louisville on September 13, 1960, the hero's welcome turned bitter. Thousands lined the parade route, black and white alike, cheering the prodigal son. Mayor Hoblazel presented him with a key to the city. Yet beneath the confetti, segregation's iron grip persisted. Within weeks, the harsh reality hit. Clay and a friend attempted to eat at a whites-only diner downtown. Clay, still beaming with Olympic pride, flashed his medal, "I'm the Olympic champion." "Serve us." The response, as he recounted in his 1975 autobiography, was crushing. "We don't serve Negroes here." According to the legend Ali himself told for decades, what happened next became one of sports' most powerful symbols. Devastated by a country that celebrated him abroad but rejected him at home, Clay drove to the 2nd Street Bridge, spanning the Ohio River. Staring at the medal, he later recounted envisioning the Olympic anthem, the flag, his victories, now symbols of a hypocritical America. In a fit of fury, he hurled it into the churning waters below. "It ain't worth a damn," he said. "I felt no pain, no regret, only relief and a new strength." The truth of the story remains debated. Biographer Thomas Hauser interviewed dozens of people close to Ali. Ali's mother, Odessa, said it was lost in a move. Brother Rahman recalled it vanishing during a family relocation. But whether he threw it or lost it, the core truth endures. Rampant racism drove a young champion toward a radical awakening. On February 25, 1964, at the Miami Beach Convention Center, 22-year-old Cassius Clay faced the most fearsome heavyweight champion in the world. Sonny Liston was a monster, 35 years old with a 35-1 record and 24 knockouts, known as the Big Bear for his intimidating scowl and devastating power. His criminal past, prison time for armed robbery and assault, and alleged mob ties made him a symbol of brute force. Clay entered as an 8-1 underdog, but Clay had waged psychological warfare for months. He released a comedy album titled I Am the Greatest, drove a bus emblazoned The Bear Hunt Is On to Liston's hotel at 3 a.m., and at the weigh-in, his pulse raced to 120 BPM. Blood pressure spiking to 200/100. Doctors deemed him emotionally unbalanced, scared to death. It was all an act. As Clay later revealed, Liston wasn't afraid of me, but he was afraid of a nut. The fight itself shocked the world. Clay's speed turned the tide. By round 3, he had opened cuts under both of Liston's eyes, the champ's first career cuts. By round 6, Clay unleashed fury. When Liston failed to answer the bell for round 7, citing a dislocated shoulder, Cassius Clay leaped onto the ropes and shouted words that would echo through eternity.
I'm the greatest thing that ever lived. I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with me, can't nobody be against me. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I am the king of the world.
2 days later, on February 27th, Clay confirmed his membership in the Nation of Islam. 9 days after that, on March 6, 1964, Elijah Muhammad bestowed upon him a new name, Muhammad Ali, worthy of all praises, Most High.
Cassius Clay is a name no more, is that right?
Yes, sir. It's Muhammad Ali. Muhammad means worthy of all praises, and Ali means most high.
The backlash was immediate and fierce. Major newspapers continued calling him Cassius Clay for years.
Why do you insist on being called Muhammad Ali now?
That's the name given to me by my leading teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's my original name. That's a black man name. Cassius Clay was my slave name. I'm no longer a slave.
What does it mean?
Muhammad means worthy of all praises, and Ali means most high.
The World Boxing Association threatened to strip his title, but Muhammad Ali had made his choice. He would be defined not just by his fists, but by his faith, the warrior's stand and the warrior's price. By 1967, Muhammad Ali stood at the pinnacle of boxing, undefeated, undisputed, and utterly unafraid of anyone or anything. But the Vietnam War had escalated, and America needed soldiers. On April 28, 1967, 25-year-old Ali walked into the U.S. Armed Forces, examining an entrance station in Houston, Texas for his scheduled induction. What happened next would cost him everything and make him immortal.
Cassius Clay, Army. Cassius Clay, Army. Will you please step forward and be inducted into the Armed Forces of the United States?
3 times his name was called. Cassius Clay, Army. He stood motionless. An officer read the penalty. Refusal meant up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Ali was escorted to a private room where he handed over a 4-page handwritten statement explaining his refusal. The essence of his stance, which he had articulated months earlier, would become the most famous anti-war statement of the era.
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor, hungry people in the mud for big, powerful America and shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They never put no dogs on me. They never robbed me of my nationality. raped and killed my mother and father. Well, I'm gonna shoot them for what? How can I go shoot them? Them little poor little black people, little babies and children and women. How can I shoot them poor people? That would just take me to jail.
Within hours, the New York State Athletic Commission suspended his license and stripped him of his title. The WBA and WBC followed. On June 20th, 1967, an all-white Houston jury took only 21 minutes to convict him of draft evasion. Judge Joe Ingram sentenced him to the maximum 5 years in prison and $10,000 fine.
I find nothing amusing or interesting or tolerable about this man. He's a disgrace to his country, his race, and what he laughingly describes as his profession. He has been found guilty. He is out on bail. He will inevitably go to prison, as well he should. He's a simplistic fool and a pawn.
Ali remained free on bond while appealing, but he was banned from boxing in every U.S. state and had his passport revoked. The exile would last 3.5 years, the prime of his athletic life stolen.
Would you have been prepared to go into the army if it hadn't been for the Vietnam War?
No, under no conditions do we take part in wars to take lives of other humans.
But something remarkable happened during that exile. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who had previously distanced himself from Ali's Nation of Islam affiliation, now publicly praised him. He is giving up millions and is prepared to go to jail. That takes courage. On June 28, 1971, the Supreme Court unanimously overturned Ali's conviction 8-0, ruling his objection was sincerely religious. Muhammad Ali never served a day in prison, but the 3.5 years he lost could never be recovered. Ali returned to the ring in October 1970, but the question lingered. Was he still the greatest? The answer came on March 8, 1971, at Madison Square Garden in what the world called the fight of the century. For the first time in boxing history, two undefeated heavyweight champions met with legitimate claims to the title. Muhammad Ali, 29-0, had returned from exile. Joe Frazier, 26-0, had won the belt during Ali's absence. Each man was guaranteed $2.5 million, the first $5 million fight in history. Ali had spent weeks taunting Frazier mercilessly, calling him an Uncle Tom, the white man's champion, too ugly to be champ. The cruelty cut deep. What Ali didn't tell the public was that Frazier had quietly helped him survive exile, lending him money. When Ali was broke, publicly lobbying for his boxing license to be restored. The fight was brutal. For 15 rounds, two warriors tore each other apart. In round 15, Frazier landed the most famous left hook in boxing history, flooring Ali. He rose at the count of 4, but was saved by the bell. The scorecards told the story. Unanimous decision for Joe Frazier. Ali was taken to Flower Fifth Avenue Hospital at 2 a.m. with a grotesquely swollen jaw. It was the first professional defeat of his career, but it was far from his last great battle. On October 30th, 1974, in Kinshasa, Zaire, Ali faced the undefeated destroyer George Foreman for the heavyweight championship in what promoters called the Rumble in the Jungle. Ali entered as a 25-1 underdog. Foreman had obliterated Joe Frazier in 2 rounds. Most experts predicted Ali would be killed.
The fight with Ernie Shavers, it definitely should have signaled the end of Ali's career because, as his doctor, Ferdy Pacheco, famously said, he won the fight, but his kidneys lost the decision.
Instead, Ali invented what he called the rope-a-dope, lying against the ropes, absorbing Foreman's massive punches while the African heat sapped the champion's strength. 60,000 Africans chanted, "Ali Bomai! Ali, kill him!" In round 8, Ali exploded with a 5-punch combination that sent Foreman crashing to the canvas. Muhammad Ali had reclaimed his throne, but the greatest test was yet to come. On October 1st, 1975, in Manila, Philippines, Ali and Frazier met for the third and final time in what became known as the Thrilla in Manila. The temperature inside the unair-conditioned Araneta Coliseum reached 108 degrees with 95% humidity. For 14 rounds, 2 men tried to destroy each other. Ali taunted constantly in the early rounds. "George, is that all you got?" But by round 10, his legs were gone. Frazier's relentless attack had taken its toll. Both men were visibly dying. Between rounds 14 and 15, Frazier's trainer Eddie Futch saw that Joe's left eye was swollen completely shut and the right was closing fast. Despite Frazier's protests, "I want him, boss," Futch stopped the fight. At that exact moment, Ali's corner was preparing to retire him if the fight continued. Ali collapsed to the canvas immediately after the stoppage, unable to stand for the victory announcement. Later, he would describe what he had endured in words that haunt boxing to this day. "It was like death, the closest thing to dying that I know of." Both men were hospitalized immediately. Frazier's blood pressure was measured at 210/160. He suffered kidney damage and temporary vision loss. Ali urinated pure blood for days. The Thrilla in Manila is still ranked as one of the 2 greatest fights of the 20th century. It was also the beginning of the end. The warning signs were everywhere for those willing to see them. As early as the late 1970s, Ali's speech had begun to slur. His hands trembled. His legendary footwork grew heavy, but the money was too good, the spotlight too addictive.
Success is addictive. Adoration is addictive. When your whole identity is bound up in being the heavyweight champion, and you're being asked to let it go and walk away, this is retiring from the thing that fed your ego, that fed your esteem, that filled your days. I don't think it's a surprise at all that he finds it so hard to walk away.
On February 15, 1978, 36-year-old Ali suffered one of boxing's biggest upsets when he lost to Leon Spinks, a 24-year-old with only 7 professional fights. Ali had trained on Holiday Inn room service and women, as his trainer Angelo Dundee later said. He won the rematch 7 months later, becoming the first man to win the heavyweight title 3 times. But he should have stopped there.
The people that loved him wanted him to retire because they didn't want to see him get hurt.
On October 2, 1980, Ali, now 38 and already showing visible signs of neurological damage, faced Larry Holmes, his former sparring partner. A Mayo Clinic examination that summer had revealed slurred speech, left-hand tremor, and stiff gait. Neurologists diagnosed possible early Parkinson's. What followed was not a boxing match. It was a public execution. For 10 rounds, Holmes landed 340 punches while Ali landed just 21. In round 10, Ali let out a long, low, guttural moan after a Holmes right hand, described by ringside reporters as the cry of a wounded animal. Holmes wept as he threw punches, yelling mid-fight, "Old man, go home." Angelo Dundee stopped the fight before round 11, the only time in Ali's 61-fight career that his corner stopped a bout. Holmes sat in his locker room sobbing, "I just beat up my hero." Ali was rushed to Sunrise Hospital with blood in his urine, kidney damage, and a hole burned in his stomach from thyroid medication he had abused trying to lose weight. President Jimmy Carter called the next day. Ali could barely speak. The longest goodbye.
Muhammad Ali was determined to be the greatest. He boxed for 21 years, losing only 5 fights out of 61. And he paid the price willingly.
In September 1984, at the age of 42, Muhammad Ali was formally admitted to Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center in New York. A team led by neurologist Stanley Fahn delivered the verdict that many had feared for years: Parkinson's syndrome caused by repeated head trauma, the first major public acknowledgement that the greatest was dying, slowly, from the sport that had made him immortal.
In the later part of his life, Muhammad Ali developed a form of Parkinson's. But Parkinson's is not usually fatal, so what killed him? Did the years of beatings he sustained in the ring play a role, or was it something else altogether that finally brought about the end of this once world-class athlete?
The numbers told a brutal story. Over 61 professional fights, Ali had thrown an estimated 60,000 full-power punches and absorbed approximately 25,000 clean punches to the head, the highest documented in heavyweight history. The worst periods came during the Frazier trilogy, the wars with Foreman and Norton, and those final tragic comeback fights. Yet even his Parkinson's slowly robbed him of everything that had made him extraordinary. His voice, his movement, his beautiful face, Ali refused to disappear from public life. In his diminished state, he would achieve perhaps his greatest moment. On July 19, 1996, at the Centennial Olympic Games in Atlanta, 3.1 billion people around the world watched as swimmer Janet Evans carried the Olympic torch up a long ramp. At the top, instead of handing it to the expected final runner, she turned toward a lone figure waiting in the shadows. The stadium lights dimmed. A single spotlight hit Muhammad Ali, wearing a white tracksuit, left arm trembling uncontrollably, right hand steadying the torch against his chest. For 45 seconds that stretched into eternity, he made his slow, shuffling walk toward the cauldron. The tremor was so violent that the flame visibly shook. When he tilted the torch and the cauldron ignited, the stadium erupted in a roar that lasted 68 seconds, longer than any medal ceremony in Olympic history. Janet Evans, who had handed him the torch, later said, "I looked into his eyes and started crying. I had to turn away so the world wouldn't see me lose it on camera." The same country that had once stripped him of everything, his title, his passport, his prime years, now asked him to light its Olympic flame. IOC President Juan Antonio Samaranch's words to Ali backstage captured the magnitude. "You are the greatest Olympian of all time. Tonight, the world forgives everything." 2 weeks earlier, Samaranch had privately presented Ali with a replacement gold medal, 36 years after the one he had lost or thrown away in Louisville. The final 20 years of Ali's life were a slow, relentless decline. By the 2000s, public appearances required assistance. The voice that had once taunted Liston and predicted rounds became a whisper. The legs that had danced around Foreman could barely carry him across a room. Depression, sleep disturbances, and swallowing difficulties plagued him. Yet Ali viewed his suffering philosophically. As his wife Lonnie would later share, Ali believed his illness carried divine purpose.
Who are you most grateful to for your career?
My career, everything. Allah. All my success, all my protection, all my feelings, all my victory, all my courage, everything comes from Allah.
In 1997, Ali co-founded the Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center in Phoenix, which became a global leader in deep brain stimulation research and clinical trials. He raised over $127 million for Parkinson's research. Figures like Michael J. Fox credited him for destigmatizing the disease.
Oh, I feel so good. I'll pray tonight and God will bless me, I hope, because I done a good deed today. I done sacrificed all my wealth, all my fame, said what I want to say in a strange land, going back to a worse land, and don't give a damn. So Allah blesses me.
On June 2, 2016, Muhammad Ali was admitted to Honor Health Scottsdale Osborne Medical Center in Arizona for what his family initially described as respiratory issues. The reality was far worse: septic shock from a multi-drug-resistant E. coli urinary infection that had spread to his bloodstream. His kidneys were failing. His blood pressure had collapsed despite maximum medication. Within hours, doctors told his wife Lonnie and his 9 children to prepare for the worst. On June 3rd, at 8:45 p.m., the family asked for the ventilator to be removed. Ali had signed a living will in 2009 explicitly stating no heroic measures when death is imminent. At 8:52 p.m., extubation began. At 9:08 p.m., his daughters Layla and Hannah began reciting the Shahada, the Muslim declaration of faith, in his ear. At 9:10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Friday, June 3, 2016, Muhammad Ali took his final breath. He was 74 years old. His family later revealed that his heart continued beating for 20 minutes after he was removed from life support. "That's the heart of a champion," they said. "It just wouldn't die." The official cause of death: septic shock due to urinary tract infection, with contributing Parkinsonian syndrome secondary to chronic traumatic brain injury.
We've just learned some very sad news: the passing of an American icon, Muhammad Ali. The larger-than-life boxing legend has died at the age of 74.
The world's reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Ali became Twitter's top trending topic for over 12 hours, with over 1 million tweets in the first 24 hours. In Louisville, over 100,000 people lined the streets for his funeral procession, a 19-mile route from his boyhood home to Cave Hill Cemetery. Former President Bill Clinton delivered a eulogy at the memorial service attended by 15,000. "Goodbye, my friend. You were great in so many ways." President Barack Obama's statement, read at the service, captured what Ali meant to America. Muhammad Ali was America. He stood with King and Mandela, stood up when it was hard, spoke out when others wouldn't. George Foreman, the man Ali had defeated in Zaire, wept openly. "A piece of me died, the greatest piece. He was the most exciting person I ever met." Mike Tyson, who had idolized Ali since childhood, offered the simplest tribute. God came for his champion. So long, great one.
The remarkable things about Muhammad Ali's life is that for 30 years, really, the whole world watched this man wither away. We saw it as he became more and more debilitated. That was a choice he made.
Muhammad Ali fought 61 professional fights. He won 56. He lost 5. But those numbers tell only a fraction of his story. He was the man who refused to step forward when his country called, sacrificing the prime years of his career for his conscience. He was the man who took the name of his faith when America demanded he remain Cassius Clay. He was the man who lit the Olympic flame with trembling hands, transforming his devastation into inspiration for millions. And yes, he was the man who absorbed 25,000 punches to the head for our entertainment, then spent 32 years paying the price.
30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. So it's how we can all break individual lives down. What am I going to do in the next 16 years? What's the best thing I can do? Get ready to meet God. Owning real estate, going in business, teaching boxers, that won't get me to heaven.
In that 1977 interview, Muhammad Ali laid bare the philosophy that guided his final decades. He understood, perhaps better than any athlete before or since, that glory fades, that bodies break, that the only fight that truly matters is the one for your soul.
Well, that's why I'm here with Johnny Walker. Here's a poor man, came all the way to America. Here's a bunch of boys need some money, and somebody is calling me to help them. God is watching me. God don't praise me because I beat Joe Frazier. God don't give nothing about Joe Frazier. God don't care nothing about England or America as far as your wealth is all his. He wants to know, how do we treat each other? How do we help each other? So I'm going to dedicate my life to using my name and popularity, helping charities.
He shook up the world, and the world will never forget him. Thank you for watching. Like this video? Don't forget to explore more similar content through the suggested cards on your screen.